Whether your goal is to join a band or start a band eventually, or you want to be a solo artist, this video is for you. Ever since I was a small kid, I've dreamt about joining a band. That's how you become a musician, right? Turned out it was really hard to find people who wanted to play the same music as me, and also I moved around a lot. So, I guess music isn't for me. So I had to find ways to create music on my own. And there are several ways to do that. My first tip: think outside the box. You don't have to stick to the conventional band setting. Be experimental. If you don't have a drummer, maybe you can pre-record drums or use a drum machine or skip the usual rhythm instruments altogether. If you're a singer, maybe you can beatbox the rhythm and layer the melody on top. Maybe you'll find a fellow musician that plays an instrument that isn't usually used in your genre. Try and merge it and see what happens. Number 2, bring in other people. You don't have to have a long-lasting band. Cooperate with others that can maybe write the lyrics, add an instrument, do the production, and you can give them something in return. Not only is this a good way to get some new inspiration, it's always good to get to know other musicians and people in the field. Number 3. You probably knew this one already, but there are so much software that you can use. You don't have to make electronic music. You can pre-record any instruments or sounds that you would like to use. Myself, I use Ableton Live, both to arrange pre-recorded music, record and edit music, but also to play it live, as this is designed for this. I use the push pad together with the program when I play live. There's a lot of free or very cheap programs and apps you can use. While you can do pretty much anything with digital software, I still also use analog loop and effects pedals like these. There is so much to choose from, it's easy to feel a little overwhelmed. Choose just a few features to start with and then expand from there. You can get so far with just an effect pedal. Number 4, learn an instrument. I feel that there's been a revival of solo instruments just playing in a very minimalistic way. I find this very relaxing to listen to. Of course, if you play piano or guitar or similar instruments that can play both melody and rhythm, this is often enough to accompany yourself. Don't feel that you need to have a full band. Myself, I really can't play anything advanced at the same time as I'm singing. It's still useful though. I often use the piano to play around with different chord progressions and melodies. Live, I can play small sections, loop it, and then focus on the vocals. In recordings, I can edit as much as I want, even record it note by note if I have to. Knowing a little bit about a few different instruments gives ideas and variety to create a rich soundscape, even if you end up using just one element in the end. Next one is practice. This might seem like a no-brainer, but I waited so many years because I felt it was a catch-22. I need a band to practice, right? What I should have been doing was to practice my singing regardless. And that goes for instruments as well, of course. Oh, you're the perfect band for me to join. I promise I'll be really good in a year. Oh, wait. You need to have a good space to practice with full volume. And I know this can be really hard for a solo artist, especially as it gets really expensive to rent something on your own. I've been out in the woods singing, I've sung in my car, I've used my workplace after office hours. Find something and practice every week, even if it's just singing or playing along to a recorded song. Talent doesn't come from nowhere. You need to keep it up. And the next tip, make sure that whatever you rehearse, you can also recreate live, if performing live is your goal, of course. I don't mean that the songs have to be exactly the same, but you need to be able to deliver something live that the audience can recognize. If the only way is to pre-record and sing or play along to that, then do that. You can always add maybe projections to make it more interesting to look at. You can always add musicians later. Hey! do you get gigs and perform as a solo artist? A popular way is, of course, to film your studio sessions or at home and share it on social media. And a great thing about it is you can have fans watching you from the other side of the world. And you can be really creative with the setting too. Of course, it feels awesome to play for a live audience as well. As you're starting out, you might not have enough songs for a full concert. But just because you're a solo artist doesn't mean you have to do a solo concert. You can do shorter gigs at festivals or as an opening act or as a part of the program for an event. And don't just look at the conventional venues. I've played more at art galleries than rock venues. I've performed outdoors in the woods or around bonfires. What places can you find that would fit your style of music? Number 7. Learn basic music production. Don't wait for someone to discover you. The industry expects pretty much finished songs today before you have any chance to get signed to a label. And it gets very expensive if you have to pay for studio time and production. The basics of recording and editing music is very easy. Of course, it takes years to get really good, but you can do good enough for demos on your own. Number 8. Take courses. Join a group. It doesn't have to be your exact genre. In fact, it's pretty good if it's not too similar. Myself, I'm in a chamber choir. This is quite far from the music I create myself, but it gives me so much inspiration and also practice every week. There are also many excellent tutorials for everything online, but when you join a group or course, you will also meet people that you might eventually cooperate with. And the last one. You've heard this a million times probably, but learn some basic music theory if you haven't already. While you can definitely create music without knowing any theory, it will speed up your work process so much if you know what you're actually doing and how to get to where you want to get to. It's also easier to talk to other musicians about your music if you know the terms and what you're doing in your work process. So I hope this video gave you some inspiration and motivation as a solo artist. And as always, like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. I'll see you out there.